Later today, the ACLU of Louisiana is hosting an event to help educate the community about the redistricting process. It's happening at the state capitol at 6 tonight. This congressional map will affect everyone statewide, and New Orleans is one of the key areas at play. Chris Kaiser is the advocacy director for the ACLU and is joining us this morning with more details. Chris, thanks for joining us to talk more about this.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and let's just start with the basics here. When we talk about redistricting, this is something that happens every time we have a new census.
That's right. And I've got to say at the outset, redistricting is one of those processes that not a lot of people know about, but this is the most important voting rights issue facing the state right now. At its most basic, this is the process every 10 years where we decide how our communities are grouped together, or maybe even divided up for every single election that our state's going to hold for the next 10 years. So anything that the legislature does this year is unchangeable for a decade. It has everything to do with, whether or not the people who represent us are truly accountable to our communities.
Right, and this is based on population, of course, because you want to be representative of the people. So, for example, 2 of the state's U.S. House seats are in northern Louisiana, and that's one of the areas we saw population loss in the last census count.
That's right. So over the last 10 years, we saw population loss in the northern part of the state, as well as a lot of the rural parts of the state, and then areas in the south, including the New Orleans area, gained in population. So we should see a lot of shifts, both in the congressional maps and our state legislative maps.
And of course, you guys are having this meeting tonight in Baton Rouge. What do you want the community to understand about this?
Well, look, this is incredibly important, but I also have to emphasize this is particularly important for minority voters. Over the years, Black voters have been severely underrepresented at all levels of government, including our congressional maps. And a big reason for that has been gerrymandering. And so if we want fair maps this time around, we're going to have communities show up. So this isn't a process that just happens behind closed doors.
Okay, and let's talk about it from both political sides. What do Republicans want to see happen with the maps? What do Democrats want to see happen with the map? Let's start with Republicans.
Well, so to be honest, we haven't seen a lot of open discussion. What the legislature is doing right now is a roadshow across the state where they're holding listening sessions, but there hasn't been a lot of back and forth yet. So when we get to the Capitol in February, I expect we'll see a lot more debate. But one of the main things we've seen from the community is we want to see a second majority-minority congressional district. As I said, this has been a point of underrepresentation for years. 1 out of 3 people in the state is Black, but only 1 out of our 6 congressional districts is a district where Black voters have a reasonable opportunity to elect a preferred candidate. So that's going to be a major debate that affects both the New Orleans area and the Baton Rouge area. Because right now, our single majority-minority district stretches from New Orleans to Baton Rouge.
Right. And so, as you said, this is an issue that a lot of people, when you say redistricting, you kind of have to explain what that is. How hard is it to get community engagement on an issue that kind of goes above people's heads, even though it impacts all of us?
Well, I would say this year in particular, it's been really encouraging because I think a lot of new technology lets people see the maps in a way they haven't in decades past. It's been a lot more democratized. And the other good thing that we've been emphasizing to people is that you don't have to be an expert on the census data, any of the statistics or anything like that. What the legislature needs to hear is how your community is made up, that you live in a cohesive community and that you share political interests with your neighbors. Those are the types of things that the legislature needs to hear if they're going to draw maps that include everybody in a really equitable manner.
Sure, this is a very important issue that we'll continue to keep an eye on. So for Chris, people who want to be informed about this, want to get more information, where will you tell them to go?
Follow the ACLU of Louisiana, as well as some of our partners like the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And I have to say, we're in Baton Rouge today, but in the New Orleans area needs to stay tuned because the legislature is coming here to the UNO campus on January 5th. And we're going to hold a conversation just like the one tonight here in January. So stay tuned.
All right, Chris Kaiser, thank you so much for breaking down that issue for us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you.